I thought I had it all figured out. A steady job as a software engineer, a cozy house in the suburbs of Portland, and a wife who made coming home the best part of my day. Jessica would greet me with that warm smile, dinner on the table, and stories about her kindergarten class. Marcus, my best friend since sophomore year of college, was practically family. He would come over twice a week, and the three of us felt complete. But for weeks, something gnawed at me, a feeling I could not name. It started small, a glance here, a nervous laugh there. Then one evening everything shattered with a single text message I was never supposed to see. Before I share what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you have not already. Trust me, you will want to hear how betrayal from the two people I trusted most completely changed my life. Now let me take you back to where it all began. Jessica and I met at a fall party 5 years ago through a mutual friend. She was standing by the pumpkin display laughing at something, and I knew right then I wanted to know her. We got married after a year of dating, and life felt easy. She taught at the local elementary school, coming home with paint-stained fingers and stories about 5-year-olds who thought the moon was made of cheese. I worked long hours debugging code and attending meetings, but Jessica never complained. She would have dinner-ready, candles lit, asking about my day like it mattered more than anything. Our house was not big, just a 3-bedroom ranch with a backyard that needed mowing, but it was ours. Weekend mornings meant hiking the trails near Mount Hood or trying new brunch spots downtown. Jessica loved those little adventures. She would pack sandwiches in her old canvas bag, and we would spend hours just talking, dreaming about the future. We had even started discussing kids maybe in another year when I got my promotion. Marcus fit into our lives like he had always been there. We met freshman year when he accidentally walked into my dorm room thinking it was his. We laughed about it, went to grab pizza, and became inseparable. He studied architecture while I buried myself in computer science. After graduation, we both ended up in Portland. Marcus was single, always joking that he was married to his blueprints. Jessica adored him. She would cook his favorite meals, this spicy chicken pasta he always requested, and the three of us would watch movies on our worn leather couch. Looking back, I see how blind I was, how I mistook their comfort around each other for friendship, how I never questioned why Marcus knew exactly how Jessica liked her coffee, or why she always seemed to light up when his truck pulled into our driveway. It was a Friday evening in late September when the first crack appeared. I had finished a project 2 days early, something that never happened in software development. I texted Jessica that I would be home by 6 instead of 9. She sent back a thumbs-up emoji. When I pulled into the driveway at 6:15, Marcus's black pickup sat at the curb. Nothing unusual. He dropped by all the time. But when I opened the front door, Jessica jumped. Actually jumped, like I had caught her doing something wrong. She was standing in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, and Marcus was on the sofa, sitting stiffly. The television was off, no smell of dinner cooking, just silence, thick and uncomfortable. "Hey, you are home early," Jessica said, her voice too high, too bright. "Yeah, wrap things up." "What are you guys up to, just hanging out?" Marcus said quickly. "I stopped by to borrow that drill you mentioned." "The drill is in the garage," I said slowly. "Has been for months." "Right, yeah. I forgot." He stood up fast, grabbing his jacket. "I should get going anyway. Got an early client meeting tomorrow." He left before I could say another word. Jessica went into the kitchen, busying herself with dishes that were already clean. I stood there trying to shake off the weirdness, telling myself I was imagining things. But that feeling stayed with me, a pebble in my shoe I could not get rid of. Over the next 2 weeks, I started noticing things. Small things that alone meant nothing, but together painted a picture I did not want to see. Jessica was always on her phone, smiling at the screen, typing fast. When I walked into the room, she would lock it immediately, looking up with that same too bright smile. She bought new clothes, spent more time on her makeup in the morning. At first I thought maybe she was just feeling good about herself. I even complimented her new dress, and she blushed, thanking me in a way that felt distant. Marcus started acting strange too. We used to grab beers every Thursday, our tradition since college. Suddenly, he was busy. Client meetings, site visits, always an excuse. Then one afternoon, Jessica told me she had a parent-teacher conference that would run late, maybe until 8. I called the school around 7 to see if I should pick her up. The secretary said the conferences ended at 5:30. I spent that night sitting in my car outside our house, waiting for Jessica to come home. She pulled in at 8:40, humming to herself as she walked to the door. When I asked how the conference went, she launched into details about a student's reading progress, never missing a beat. She was good at lying. That realization hit me harder than anything. The following Monday morning, I made a decision. I told Jessica I had to go on a business trip to Seattle for 3 days. She nodded, kissing my cheek, telling me to drive safe. But I did not go to Seattle. I checked into a hotel 15 minutes from our house and called my sister Kate. Kate is a divorce attorney. She has seen every kind of betrayal, heard every excuse. When I told her my suspicions, she did not sugarcoat anything. You need proof, Joel. Hard evidence. If you are going to confront them, you cannot go in with just feelings. She gave me the number for a private investigator, a guy named Mr. Davies, who had worked with her firm for years. I met him at a coffee shop that afternoon. He was in his 50s, gray hair, tired eyes that had seen too much. He listened to everything without judgment, took notes, and told me he would start immediately. The first day, I was supposedly in Seattle. Mr. Davies followed Jessica. She went to work at her usual time, taught her Class 8 lunch in the staff room, normal routine. Then at 3 in the afternoon, she left early. He followed her to a cafe on the east side of town, a place Jessica and I had never been. Marcus was already there, sitting at a corner table. Mr. Davies sent me photos. Jessica sliding into the booth across from him, their hands reaching across the table, fingers intertwining. Her laughing at something he said. Him looking at her the way I used to look at her. They sat there for an hour before driving separately to an apartment complex I did not recognize. Mr. Davies checked the records. Marcus had rented a studio there 2 months ago. They went inside together. They did not come out for 3 hours. I stared at those photos on my phone screen until my eyes burned. The hotel room felt too small, the walls pressing in. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive over there and kick the door down. But Kate's voice echoed in my head. Proof. Hard evidence. The second day I could not sit in that hotel room anymore. I put on sunglasses and a baseball cap I never wore, parked at the end of Jessica's school street, and waited. At 2 in the afternoon, Marcus's truck appeared. He pulled right up to the front entrance. Jessica walked out, looked around, then got in. They drove 3 blocks before he pulled over. I watched through binoculars as they kissed. Not a friendly peck, a real kiss. The kind that said this had been going on for a while. The kind that made my stomach turn inside out. I followed them to a park. They walked hand in hand down a trail, stopping at a bench, overlooking the river. I stayed far back, hidden behind trees, feeling like a stranger in my own life. They talked for over an hour. At one point, Jessica laid her head on his shoulder. He wrapped his arm around her. They looked like a couple. They looked happy. That night I checked our joint bank account. Withdrawals I did not recognize. $200 cash here, $150 there. Charges at restaurants we had never been to together. A hotel in Bend from last month, when Jessica said she went to visit her college roommate. I pulled up the credit card statements. More hotels, more restaurants. A jewelry store purchase for $375. I never got any jewelry. My hands shook as I opened my laptop. Kate had told me about software that could back up phone data if you had access. Jessica and I shared an Apple account for family purchases. It took me 20 minutes to figure out, but I got into her messages. The words blurred together at first. Then they came into focus, sharp and cutting. Marcus wrote, "I cannot stop thinking about yesterday. You are all I want." Jessica replied, "I know. I feel terrible lying to Joel, but I cannot stay away from you. When are you going to tell him, we have talked about this? Soon, I just need the right time. He has been so busy with work, I do not want to hurt him. I want you to be mine completely. I hate sneaking around." I scrolled back. 6 months. They had been doing this for 6 months. It started at a barbecue at Marcus's place in April. He had invited us over grilled steaks, and after I went inside to take a work call, something happened between them. The messages were vague at first, then bolder. By June, they were talking about a future together. By August, Jessica was saying she loved him. There was more. Marcus confessing he had feelings for her, even before we got married. Jessica saying she felt more alive with him than she ever felt with me. Them laughing about how clueless I was, planning their next meetup, while I sat at my desk, thinking my life was solid. One message stopped me cold. From 3 weeks ago, Marcus wrote, "When is Joel supposed to get that promotion?" Jessica answered December. "His boss pretty much promised it. He will get a decent raise." Marcus replied, "Good. That will make the divorce settlement better for you. Just wait until after that." They were planning it. Waiting until I got more money so Jessica could take more in the split. I sat in that hotel room, reading those words over and over, feeling something die inside me. Not just love, trust. The belief that people could be good. I met Kate at her office the next morning. She read through everything, her jaw tight. When she finished, she leaned back in her chair and let out a long breath. "This is awful, Joel. I'm so sorry. What do I do?" "You fight smart. You have everything you need. File for divorce first. Oregon is a no-fault state, but this evidence shows she was planning to defraud you. We can protect your assets." She pulled out paperwork. "I already drafted the petition. Sign here. I will file it today." My hand hovered over the signature line. 5 years of marriage ending with a pen stroke. I signed. Kate walked me through the next steps. Move half the money from our joint account into a personal one. Legal since it was joint property. Secure my retirement accounts. Change passwords on everything. Prepare for the confrontation. "You are going to want revenge," Kate said. "That is normal. But the best revenge is moving on and living well." "What about Marcus?" She raised an eyebrow. "What about him?" "He is about to finish his probation period at Westwood Architecture. They hired him 3 months ago. Big firm. Very corporate. Very concerned with image." Kate caught on immediately. "They would not like knowing their employees sabotaged his best friend's marriage." "No, they would not." I spent the next day gathering everything. I saved screenshots of messages, downloaded the photos from Mr. Davies, created a folder with everything organized and dated. Then I made copies. Multiple copies, cloud storage, thumb drives. I was not taking any chances. On Friday evening, I texted Jessica that I was coming home and wanted to have dinner with her and Marcus, a reunion dinner after my trip. She responded with heart emojis saying she would make lasagna. Marcus texted back that he would bring wine. Of course he would. I got home at 5. Jessica was in the kitchen apron unhumming while she cooked. She kissed me when I walked in, asked about Seattle. I lied smoothly, told her about meetings that never happened, a hotel I never stayed in. She believed every word because she thought I was as good at lying as she was. I was not. I just learned fast. Marcus arrived at 6:30 with an expensive bottle of red. We shook hands. He clapped me on the shoulder like old times. We sat at the dining table, the same table where we had celebrated birthdays and holidays. Jessica brought out the lasagna, and we ate. They talked about their weeks. Marcus complained about a difficult client. Jessica shared a funny story about a kid in her class. I smiled, nodded, played along. After we finished the main course, I stood up and walked to the living room. I picked up the remote and connected my laptop to the television. "I want to show you something interesting," I said. Jessica looked confused. Marcus sipped his wine waiting. I hit play. The screen filled with photos. Jessica and Marcus at the cafe, holding hands, kissing in his truck, walking into that apartment building. Timestamps in the corner. Clear, undeniable. Jessica's face went white. The fork slipped from her hand, clattering against the plate. "Joel, wait, I can explain," she stammered. I switched to the next slide. Screenshots of their messages. Blown up on our 65-inch screen. Every word visible. Marcus set his wine glass down hard. Red liquid sloshed onto the white tablecloth. "Man, this is not what it looks like," he started. Do not insult my intelligence. I cut him off. My voice was calm, too calm. I have 6 months of evidence. I have photos. I have messages. I have witness statements from the private investigator I hired. I know everything. Jessica started crying. It was a mistake. Please, Joel. I love you. Marcus means nothing. Marcus's head whipped toward her. What? You said you loved me. You said you were going to leave him. I never said that. Jessica shot back, tears streaming. You pressured me. You kept saying we should be together. That is not true. You started this. You came on to me. They turned on each other, right there, blame, flying back and forth. I watched, feeling nothing. It was almost funny. Almost. Enough, I said. I pulled out an envelope from my jacket and slid it across the table to Jessica. Sign these. Divorce papers. I filed them 3 days ago. You cannot be serious, she whispered. You planned to wait until my promotion to leave me. You wanted a bigger settlement. That was your plan, right? I looked at Marcus. And you, my best friend for 12 years. Was it worth it? Marcus tried to speak, but words failed him. He looked down at his hands. Get out of my house. Both of you. Now. Jessica grabbed my arm. Please, we can work through this. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. I pulled away. You made a choice. Every day, for 6 months, you chose to lie to me. You chose him. Now you live with that choice. Leave. Marcus stood up first, heading for the door. Jessica followed, sobbing, still begging. I closed the door behind them and locked it. Then I stood in the silent house, the house that suddenly felt bigger and emptier than ever before. The next morning, Jessica came back with her mother to pack her things. I stayed in the bedroom while they moved through the house. She tried to talk to me through the door. I did not answer. By noon, she was gone. I spent the weekend compiling a report. A detailed professional document outlining Marcus's affair with his best friend's wife, complete with dates, evidence, and character references. On Monday morning, I emailed it to the managing partners at Westwood Architecture. The response came Tuesday afternoon. A brief, formal email thanking me for bringing this matter to their attention. On Wednesday, Marcus called me 17 times. I did not answer. Thursday morning, Kate told me he had been terminated. His probation period was not complete. The firm had every right to let him go, and they did. Our mutual friends found out within days. I did not have to say much. Jessica tried her version of events, painting herself as confused and lost. But too many people had seen the evidence. Photos got shared, messages leaked. The truth has a way of coming out. One by one, friends reached out to me, apologizing, offering support, distancing themselves from Jessica and Marcus. The divorce was finalized in 8 weeks. Jessica signed everything. She tried to fight for more money, but with evidence of her infidelity and plans to defraud me, her lawyer advised her to take what was offered. She got her personal belongings in her car. I kept the house and most of our savings. Clean break. Marcus tried to reach out twice more. Voicemails saying he was sorry, that he never meant for it to happen, that the whole thing was a huge mistake. I deleted them without listening all the way through. Some bridges you burn on purpose. Jessica moved in with her parents. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she and Marcus tried to make it work. They lasted 6 weeks before the guilt and pressure tore them apart. Turns out a relationship built on lies does not have much foundation. Who knew? The first few months after the divorce were harder than I expected. I sold the house. Too many memories in those walls. I moved to a modern apartment downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. I could walk to work, to coffee shops, to everything. No more suburbs, no more pretending life was something it was not. Some nights I could not sleep. I would lie awake replaying moments, searching for signs I missed. The time Marcus helped Jessica hang new curtains while I was at a conference. The weekend they both convinced me to go on that fishing trip with my dad, while they stayed behind to deep clean the house. All the little moments that seemed innocent, but were not. Kate checked in on me constantly. She would show up at my apartment with takeout, forcing me to eat and talk. She never said "I told you so." She just listened. Let me be angry. Let me be sad. Let me work through it in my own time. You are allowed to grieve, she said one night over Thai food. You lost 2 people you loved. That is real loss. She was right. I was not just mourning the end of my marriage. I was mourning the friendship I thought I had. The trust I thought was unbreakable. The version of my life I thought was true. But grief is funny. It does not last forever if you do not feed it. I started going to the gym at 6 every morning, lifting weights until my arms shook, running on the treadmill until my legs burned. Physical pain was easier to manage than emotional pain. And slowly, very slowly, I started feeling stronger. Not just physically, mentally. I signed up for guitar lessons. Something I always wanted to do but never made time for. Turns out I was terrible at first. My fingers could not find the right strings. My rhythm was off. But my teacher, an older guy named Paul, who had toured with bands in the 80s, was patient. He taught me that getting good at anything requires showing up, even when you do not feel like it. I showed up twice a week, and gradually I got better. Weekends became mine again. I volunteered at a local food bank sorting donations and packing boxes. The work was simple, repetitive, but it felt good to help people who had real problems, not manufactured drama. I met people there who had lost everything and were rebuilding with grace. They put my situation in perspective. In December, I took a solo trip to Colorado. I had never traveled alone before, always with Jessica or with Marcus and other friends. But I packed a bag, rented a car, and drove through the mountains. I hiked trails until my lungs burned from the altitude. I sat by frozen lakes watching the sun set over peaks dusted with snow. I ate dinner alone at small-town diners, reading books, writing in a journal Kate convinced me to start. One night, sitting in a cabin I rented near Estes Park, I realized something. I was not angry anymore. The rage that had fueled me for months was gone. In its place was something quieter. Acceptance, maybe, or just exhaustion from carrying that weight. I did not forgive Jessica or Marcus. Forgiveness felt too big, too generous for what they did. But I stopped letting them take up space in my head. I stopped imagining different versions of confrontations. I stopped wondering what if. They made their choices. I made mine. And my choice was to move forward. Back in Portland, I reconnected with old friends I had neglected during my marriage. College buddies who had moved to other cities but were back visiting. We grabbed drinks, caught up on years of life. One of them, Ryan, worked at a tech startup downtown. We started meeting for lunch every couple of weeks. He became the friend I did not know I needed. Straightforward, honest. Someone who valued loyalty because he had been burned before, too. Through Ryan, I met more people. His girlfriend introduced me to her coworkers. I went to trivia nights and dinner parties. I learned that starting over did not mean being alone. It meant choosing better people to surround myself with. Work got better too. The promotion I was supposed to get came through in January. More responsibility, better pay, but also more fulfillment. I took on projects I actually cared about. I mentored junior developers. I found purpose in the work, instead of just going through motions. And somewhere in all of that rebuilding, I started feeling like myself again. Not the self I was when I was married. A different version. Stronger. More careful, but not closed off. I learned that trust is not something you give freely. It is earned. And once broken, it is okay to walk away instead of trying to glue the pieces back together. One Saturday in March, I was at a bookstore browsing the travel section when someone bumped into me. Coffee splashed onto both our shoes. We both apologized at the same time, then laughed. Her name was Sarah. She worked as a nurse at the hospital 3 blocks from my apartment. We talked for 20 minutes, standing between the shelves, then exchanged numbers. Nothing rushed, nothing forced, just easy conversation. We got coffee the following week, then dinner the week after. Sarah knew I was divorced. I told her the broad strokes without diving into bitterness. She had her own story, an ex-fiancé who could not commit. We bonded over starting fresh, over learning to trust again slowly. I am not saying Sarah is the answer to everything. I am not even sure where it is going. But for the first time in over a year, I feel hopeful. Not desperate, not trying to fill a void, just open to possibility. A year and a half after everything fell apart, I am sitting in my apartment on a Sunday morning. Sunlight streams through the windows. I have coffee, brewing a guitar resting against the couch, and plans to hike with Ryan this afternoon. My life does not look anything like I thought it would, and that is okay. Better than okay. I used to think losing Jessica and Marcus destroyed me. But looking back, they did not destroy me. They freed me. Freed me from a marriage that was hollow. From a friendship that was fake. From a version of my life built on lies I was too trusting to see. The betrayal hurt. It hurt like nothing I had experienced before. But pain is not the end of the story. What you do with that pain defines what comes next. I could have stayed bitter. I could have let it poison everything. Instead, I chose to rebuild, to become someone better than I was before. I do not wish bad things for Jessica or Marcus. I do not wish them well either. I just do not think about them much anymore. They are part of my past, a chapter that taught me hard lessons. But they are not my present, and they sure as hell are not my future. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead you to the best versions of yourself. I lost a wife and a friend, but I found something far more valuable. I found me again, and that more than any revenge is the greatest victory of all. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you thought you could trust forever? How did you rebuild after betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And please subscribe, because I will be sharing more real stories about overcoming life's toughest moments. Thank you for listening to my journey. I hope it reminds you that no matter how broken you feel right now, you have the strength to rebuild into something even better. Stay strong and take care of yourself.